Where are you, Sam?
Here. Got my martini.
Those are the dirty.
Oh, I didn't even recognize you. Okay, I guess I need to get my glasses on. You are different every week.
I'm in the Starlight room of the Chi-Chi Club, which was the place to be in the 50s in Palm Springs.
And where was that? Was it in a hotel or a town?
No, it was its own club, and there was a restaurant, and then they built the club, and I want to say only had a couple hundred seats, and they expanded to like 700 plus, and everyone went there. Like everyone performed there. Louis Armstrong, Ella Fitzgerald, Lena Horne, and everyone went who lived there. It was the place to be. And then I think it changed owners in like the 60s and was gone, was not as popular. And the opening night, Desi Arnaz and his orchestra did the opening night, which is, it's always fun because we do opening nights and stuff. So it's fun to
do opening night.
Did, but I've got my martini. I'm a 50 housewife meme.
You're a wife.
Oh, I like that.
I have to move my pictures out of the way.
Ramona?
That's adorable.
I love that.
Would you please be sure we get a picture of that, everybody? Sam, I know you know how to get that picture right, but oh my goodness, that's awesome. Adorable. And I'd like to let everyone know that Sam has joined our ranks as a guest editor on our website. So for those of you who've been with us over the last 6 months, we didn't know Sam at all when we first started this, but she shows up every week with a story and with some history and looking different and fabulous, no matter what we're talking about. And she has a travel blog. She travels with her puppy Gus and has a wonderful travel blog, but she started blogging about getting ready for our weekly events, and what a lifesaver these events have been for her. So we asked her to come on board and write a feature for us on a regular basis for our website. So if y'all would like to know Sam better, she's a wonderful writer. Please visit her blog and come on our website and take a look. Sam, you want to tell them your blog post name or how to find you online?
Yeah, it's called Black Dog Travel because the dog I have now and so it started for me. My dog he was older, but he passed away in June, and sorry.
That's not emotional, is
it? And I got the dog I have now a month later from the same breeder. Just kind of happened unexpectedly, kind of a fateful email saying she had some available, but I mean, she's in Kansas, so I drove to Kansas to get him. But the weekend I got back was the first time it was 4th of July weekend. It was the first time I got the invite to this call, and I joined the call. I knew a couple of people on it, but joined it not really knowing what it was going to be, and kind of needed something at the time. And it's kind of taken on its own story.
Sam, where are you located at?
I'm in Michigan right now, unfortunately. I used to live in LA, and I'm from the East Coast, so I was trying to get kind of closer to home. And so I've traveled all over. I've moved around. I've lived in like Wyoming and Colorado and worked in resort towns, and I travel for work, but then I might get home and I might take off on a road trip for a long weekend with my dog. So my first dog went to all the lower 48 states with me after I had been to all 50. I drove back to 48 with him, and I put a book together with his iconic photos. He's kind of in front of places that you would recognize in most states. And I put a book together, and as the years went on, I didn't know I was doing it when I got him, but as the years went on, he might have on a bandana or a bow tie that goes with the picture. And I realized that's kind of what I do for these calls. That's how I set up the calls. Only his pictures are real. And started setting up my own photos for these calls in a similar style.
Very creative. We're just super glad. She's been a blessing to us all this year. She keeps us laughing, and what a poster child for what we're trying to do.
And I'm such a history buff. I mean, that's part of the reason I like to travel too, but I love diving into the destinations and the history and the eras and what was popular, and finding something like this backdrop that's literally from the 50s that doesn't exist anymore. So I love it. Kind of took on a life of its own for me, and I jump in and do a lot of research.
And
But
that-
I did do a Rat Pack themed event once too, and it was a surprise for the people coming to it, and it was a repeat event. Like it was a repeat client, and they wanted it to be something really different. And I had this Rat Pack, like a 50s lounge idea, and people walked in. They said, "Oh, it's like the Rat Pack in here." And I had a awesome Frank Sinatra impersonator, and we had him out in the crowd mingling with guests, not saying who he was, like pretending to know them. And he didn't have his fedora on, and people would pretend to know him back. And then we got him up on stage, and he put on his fedora and he sang, and he's so awesome and so like flirty and takes the lines right from Frank Sinatra, that I presented at our year-end meeting that year. And they asked me to present on how do you sell an event again, like a similar event. And I did the presentation with the photos, and I said, but you really have to experience it, and it would be an easy way to sell it again. And no one knew this except one person at the door for me. And I had him at our year-end meeting, and he came in and sang to everyone in the room as a surprise.
Not the real Frank Sinatra, the fake fan.
The fake one. So he's on my right there.
Oh, wow. That's
He's
Frank
wonderful.
Sinatra at his most adorable, I must say.
Yeah, he's very charming.
Angie, you and Suzanne need to know about this guy. And
I
if you
know.
know somebody from PRA, they probably do know this guy.
That's our
How
go-to
about
expert.
him? Yeah.
We have a really good Frank Sinatra out here. We've used him several times, and he sings, he does it all. He's very personable. Scott, good to see you.
Hi, Susan. Good to see you. Thanks for having me today.
Scott just booked a program in Palm Springs with us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to see
Scott.
you.
Yeah, couldn't miss this. Glad to be here, and look forward to chatting about everything in the Coachella Valley.
Awesome.
Glad you're here, Scott.
Glad to be
Awesome.
here, Carol.
Thanks. Wanted to also tell you that we have a guest star today, and I want to give you a little background about why she's here. Nuria, are you willing to turn your camera on for a moment?
My camera has been on the whole time.
Has it? There she is. Hi, honey. Where are you sitting?
I'm sitting at the brand new spa at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Oh, well, we're going to move that a few hundred miles to the east and plunk it down in Palm Springs. It could be there.
I know.
It's
I would
beautiful.
love to be in Palm Springs. Trust me.
So if anyone has a beverage handy, we invited Nuria to come on board because this time last year, we were 2 weeks out from a road show and we had to cancel it. And Nuria came to me and said, why don't you provide us hoteliers an opportunity to talk about our products and get in front of some customers? And we've now had to cancel our event. So we would love to just engage with them somehow. And nobody knew how to even use Zoom in those days. That was just a year ago. We were all Zoom novices. And basically what Whitney and I said was, we'll do it for you because we love you, but we're only doing it if it can be fun and engaging and people can dress up and bring a cocktail and we can have a theme. And if we can do that, yes, we're in. And that was 52 weeks ago next week. We've never missed a week other than the holidays. And this is all thanks to Nuria and her inspiration. So for all of you who feel that these events have been lifesavers, and I know there are several of you on the call today, you have Nuria to thank for that. So let's raise a glass. 52 consecutive weeks. We didn't think we could do it, but we did. Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Congratulations.
You set a high bar, my dear.
Yeah, and I have to say, I was one of the people that was on that original call, and my wife, who is not in the business, but she was just overlooking my shoulder. She said, "Wow, this is really impressive," and I have to say, it was the top. When you start at the top, Nuria, it's hard to come down. So she did a great job. That I can't believe it's been 52 weeks ago, but I remember that like it was yesterday.
Did you dress up on the first call?
Yes.
No.
we did.
It's
Oh, I
Scott.
didn't.
No, you didn't?
Occasionally, Scott will get out a hat if that's his
Yeah.
version of dressing up.
I'm not a dress up guy. I just, sometimes I'll throw on a hat like you, Carol said, but Nuria always dresses up.
Well, I mean, I have to. But honestly, I wanted to be in this call because I love so many of you guys. And, you know, I've seen you in several calls, but also to thank Carol and Whitney for giving us this platform, you know, as a hotelier and as, you know, somebody on my side, we love talking about our destinations and our hotels. And obviously, it's very hard and difficult to do in these times. But when you do it in a fun way, and a very unexpected way, it's really a pleasure, and everybody has a good time. And really, Carol, you know, and Whitney, thank you to you ladies for giving us this platform and this time, and just, you know, doing it from the good of your heart. You guys both have hearts of gold, and I really appreciate the opportunity. And, you know, I was the first, but hey, 52 weeks later, right? It's amazing. You've helped so many of us in our industry, and you deserve the recognition.
Thank
So
you.
thank you.
Well, we need you to go tell your boss to go buy a few more hotels because we've run out of Dorchester Collection hotels.
Yeah, and the cool thing about Nuria's first presentation was it was it was like going on a site inspection because she structured it so arrival, day, you know, first evening, day one, evening of day one, day two, evening of day two, day three, evening of day three. And so I felt like, you know, in the middle of the pandemic, which, you know, obviously it was all new to us 52 weeks ago, it was such a relief, and it was just a wonderful presentation. So again, bravo.
I tell people as I'm talking to them about doing one of these, just go to Nuria's recordings on our website, and you can see that it doesn't need to be any more complicated than sitting at your desk looking at slides and photos. It's just that you have to tell a story as you do that, and to take people on a journey emotionally. And that's what Nuria is able to do with a really deft touch and a lot of wit. So we just love it. Thank you, Nuria, for all of the inspiration to us, but also to your fellow hoteliers who have watched your videos and are patterning their own presentations after yours.
Great. Thank you. And I unfortunately can't stay during the presentation, but I will watch the recording because I am dying to go to Palm Springs. So I'll be watching after. And thanks again. It's so great to see everybody. I have to jump. I have another call, but just wanted to, you know, just pop in and say hi and how much I appreciate you.
Yes, thank you. Well, we feel the same way. So thanks for popping in, little celebrity guest star.
Bye.
Bye, Nuria.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
So having said that, I'm here to tell you that next week we are taking a week off. Our team is traveling next week to set up our first live event, which is going to take place the end of August, early September, to Texas. So we are going on a spring break. Kelly says, yeah, we're going on sort of a spring break. We didn't want to have to host a live call while we were on the road. So we're taking a break next week, and the week after we'll be back. So don't go away, y'all. Don't go away. All right, Whitney, you ready to welcome everybody?
I am. Well, hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. We do these calls, as Carol said, this is our 52nd. And we do these calls each week at 4 o'clock Eastern time. You're always welcome to join us. You don't have to dress up. You don't have to make a cocktail. But the ones who do maybe have a little bit more fun than the ones who don't. That's all I'm saying.
Just saying.
That's all I'm saying. But I don't know, Scott, you can be my litmus test of that. I think Scott has a pretty good time, and he rarely, I don't think he ever drinks, and he doesn't even take the prizes when he gets it.
Doesn't we try to give him stuff? He doesn't even take it.
I don't understand that, but he's a very, very generous kind of guy.
Yeah, I have fun watching everybody else dress up. So it's
Okay.
you guys look great today.
We appreciate that. And so today I'll be your moderator. And that just means if you have any questions or comments or things, we keep the chat box going and put your questions there, and I'll be sure to get them answered by the end of the call. And I'm gonna keep everybody muted. just because we are recording this and it will live on our website from now on. So you can always go and look at the ones that we've done before. We've archived them all. And if you have an extra hour and you just, you don't have enough to do sitting in front of your computer, then you can go and see whichever ones you want. And now I'm going to introduce, just want to say hi to Marina O'Leary. Marina is our Business Development Director. And
hello, everyone. I gotta say, this is an awesome house. This looks like it is actually a spaceship. I need to put my hands down. That's Bob Hope's house in Palm Springs. It's very cool.
Wow.
For its time, that must have been amazing, right?
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
cool.
And we also want to say hi to Ben Woody. Ben is with us. He's our intern this year.
Ben, what you
How
got
are you
going
all?
on back there? Are you going to Coachella in your head?
And Ben will be with us, and some of you will be hearing from Ben. So keep an eye out for him. And I'm going to turn everything over to Carol now.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Wanted to point out before we get started that we do give a gift every week to the first 5 people who log into the call. Just thank you for being here every week and being on time. I'm here to announce who those 5 people are. If I do not have your correct home address where you would like to receive a gift, please email me at carol@retreatsresources.com. And I will make sure that our hosts get your information so they can send you something from Palm Springs. I'm kind of drawing a blank. I think, Angie, you have contributed something. Can you share that? Or are we going to have a secret gift this week?
Well, we'll have our first 5, and then we're going to do a 2-night stay giveaway also.
Awesome. So the first 5 people to get a little gift from Palm Springs this week are Carrie Eichen, Sam Bixby, Robin Schlesinger. Hey, Robin. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, hi, how are you? Basia Border, and hey, Basia, and Lisa Pagano, who rolled out of her COVID bed and is going to collect a little gift from Palm Springs. We're happy to see that. All right, so without any further messing around, I'd like to first of all, call on my old friend, Angie Day, who I don't know if you go by Wilson now or Angie Day.
I'm still Angie Day. I tried the change, it just didn't stick. So, but I am still married.
So the universe has delivered Angie to me. I've known her for a good 15 years. She was one of my original group of hoteliers on our roadshow when she was in Big Sky, Montana. Then she moved to Charleston and for many years was with the Charleston CVB. And we got, a surprise cancellation last week for this week's call. We wanted to stick with the Rat Pack theme, and I was racking my head because I didn't know anybody in Palm Springs, and I was thinking we had to give up on the idea of a Rat Pack theme for this week when I went to Facebook and thought, well, okay, maybe we'll talk about Charleston. So I looked up Angie on Facebook and saw that she now works for the Palm Springs CVB. So the universe was watching out for all of us. She was able at very short notice to pull her team together and put together this presentation for us. And we are super grateful, not only for our long friendship, Angie, but also just that you were so nimble and you said yes without question with very little preparation time. And Suzanne was on vacation too, so that didn't help matters. So having said that, I'd like Angie to introduce her crew. Thanks, Angie. We appreciate you being here.
Well, I'm Angie Day. I handled the Northeast market in Canada for Greater Palm Springs. And to Carol's point, I was at the inaugural event in Atlanta, Georgia, many years ago, but the community that you have around these events and team, I can't tell you how important at the beginning of my career is cultivating those relationships. Those have been some of my strongest, most important support systems through the years, both customers and, industry colleagues. So this is really special today to get to be here with all of you, and we're excited. So we're going to have fun. And then I want to pass it over to my colleague, Suzanne. We're teaming up today.
Hey, Suzanne.
Hello, everybody. Well, remember, I am 3 hours, behind you guys. So my cocktail glass has a non-alcoholic beverage, but I hear you guys are a really fun group. So I look forward to spending some time with you guys. I am a national sales manager at the Palm Springs CVB, and I've been here, July will be 15 years. I've always been in convention sales, but recently, February of last year, right before COVID hit, I took over the Southeast market. And, it's just been the last year of just trying to get to know people and reach out and let them know that I'm here. So I am your person. If you reside in Texas or anything in the Southeast, feel free to reach out to me for any information or destination needs. That is all I have to say. I look forward to having some fun today.
Good.
Well, we're excited to share a little history and overview of all that's going on in Palm Springs. And we're ready to get our industry back and get people's jobs back and to meet in person. And with that being said, you may have heard, but we had an exciting announcement yesterday that California is on track to resume in-person events as of June 15th. So, we feel like with the rate of vaccinations and the low positivity, we're confident we're going to be there. So anything under 5,000 people is allowed to resume as of June 15th. So now we're going to have some fun. I just wanted to give you a brief little history about the Palm Springs area. The first people to inhabit it, the Coachella Valley, were the Kahia people. And that was over 2,000 years ago. And they really have had a major influence on the area of Palm Springs, and they continue to do so. And it wasn't until the 1920s that Palm Springs became a well-known world-class resort destination. Its dry climate, its healing hot springs, it was, really interesting. People wanted to move there for the health benefits, especially if they had tuberculosis. So fast forward to 1926, and the first hotel was built, which was La Quinta Hotel. And it started getting the eye of the rich and famous over in Hollywood. Now, it also had a big advantage because it was within 100 miles of Hollywood. So rule of thumb was you had to stay within 100 miles if you left town, because you might need to be called back to film, to be on set. And Palm Springs fell within that radius. So that was the beginning of Palm Springs being dubbed Hollywood East. And it's continued to be a playground for celebrities since then. To this day, we have celebrities that reside or own second homes, such as Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell, Suzanne Summers, Barry Manilow, and one of the most famous, Leonardo DiCaprio. So on that note, get your cocktails ready, because we're going to go back in time a little bit and we're going to go have some fun with the Rat Pack.
Welcome to Palm Springs. Well, at least sort of. It's Rat Pack and cocktail culture time. When we think about Palm Springs in the mid-century, we can't help but think of the Rat Pack and, of course, the martini. Martinis have become the mid-century cocktail of choice. And what better way to enjoy Palm Springs than with a martini? Does everyone have a cocktail? I can see some of you have already been prepared. Today, we are going to explore the intersection between Palm Springs, Las Vegas, and of course, the Rat Pack. Welcome to the Rat Pack and Palm Springs cocktail culture. This town was designed for three things: getting drunk, getting laid, and playing golf. Or at least, says Palm Springs restaurateur Billy Sorrentino, it was popular. The guys would chopper in from Las Vegas and just hang out. The guys Billy was referring to were, of course, the Rat Pack: Frank, Dean, Sammy, Peter, and Joey. And as Billy put it, they'd drink, they'd smoke, they'd drink some more. Sometimes they'd even sing and drink. Sorrentino's was originally the Doll House, and it was located on North Palm Canyon. It was a boisterous, nice night spot where even the bar stools had seat belts. So buckle up, modernistas. Now, here is an interesting side bit that I learned about the Doll House. Naomi Parker Fraley was a waitress there after the war. You may know Naomi better as Rosie the Riveter. No matter where you look here in Palm Springs, you'll find interesting characters whom loom large, not just in local, but in national history. Now, back to the Rat Pack. The Rat Pack, as we know them today, began in 1960 with the filming of Ocean's 11. They never called themselves the Rat Pack, though. It was the press who dubbed them that. They always referred to themselves as the Summit or the Clan. This was in deference to the original Rat Pack. Originally, the group centered around Humphrey Bogart and his pals Judy Garland, David Niven, Angie Dickinson, talent agent Swifty Lazar, restaurateur Mike Romanoff, and of course, Frank Sinatra. According to Stephen Bogart, son of Humphrey and Lauren Bacall, the term originated when his mother walked in on his father and the rest of the group during a particularly drunken weekend in Las Vegas. "You look like a pack of goddamn rats," she said. The name stuck. They even assigned themselves titles. Sinatra was the pack master. Bacall was the den mother. Garland was vice president, and her husband and manager Sid Luft was cage master. Lazar was treasurer and recording secretary, and Bogart, well, he was in charge of PR, though his role was more akin to the spiritual leader. This new Rat Pack were Hollywood's bad boys, and in the post-World War II era, they added a luster not just to the big screen, but to Palm Springs as well. Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., and Peter Lawford so enjoyed their visits to Palm Springs that they ended up purchasing homes here. Here's Dean Martin's home in Vista Las Palmas. It's still owned by Dean and Jean's daughter, Dina. The Sinatra compound, in particular, became the favored meeting spot for the Rat Pack. With its piano-shaped swimming pool, it was a perfect spot for luxuriating in the desert sun. Sinatra built Twin Palms in 1947. It was in the middle of the desert. It was so remote from the other parts of the city that Frank would have to illuminate the Twin Palms in order for his cronies to find their way across the desert. And he was very fond of hoisting up the Jack Daniels flag when he was serving cocktails. So everybody knew that the bar was open. Over the next 20 years, Frank fueled, or should I say worshipped, at the altars of the Biltmore, Howard's Manor, now Colony Palms, Don the Beachcomber. Here it is today. It's Ernest Coffee and Bootlegger Tiki. Romanoff's at the Rocks, which he owned with an entourage of celebrities, including Lauren Bacall and Beverly Hills restaurateur Mike Romanoff. As you may recall, the two of them were also original Rat Packers. Martin and Sinatra were more than just friends. They were comrades, and they were brothers. They found each other at a time when Hollywood was just oozing with glitz and glamour and clamored for larger-than-life personalities. Those two really fit the bill. Frank and Dean were friends for more than 40 years. The legendary performers made Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and Palm Springs their stomping grounds, and secured second homes here in Palm Springs. Here's the Sinatra House today. The Martins and the Sinatras spent a lot of time together, particularly and publicly, especially during the holiday season. Dean was not impressed with the mafia types, unlike Frank, who liked to swim with the sharks. Sinatra was associated with Chicago mafia boss Sam Giancana. Though Dean appeared to be perennially drunk, that was all just an act. Martin enjoyed a cocktail from time to time, but that ever-present tumbler of scotch was in reality Martinelli's Sparkling Cider. Martin was also notorious for skipping rehearsals. The feigned inebriation only added to the onstage unscripted antics that were sure to follow. Now, Sinatra met Davis at the Michigan Theater in Detroit in 1941. Sinatra was there performing with the Tommy Dorsey Orchestra. Sammy was just 16 years old and performing in the Will Maston Trio. Sinatra was blown away by Sammy's talent. Sammy had started his career as a vaudeville entertainer at the tender age of 3 with his father and uncle in the Will Maston Trio. Sinatra and Davis would not meet up again until 1945. World War II was over and Davis had just been released from the Army, and Sinatra was doing a radio show in Los Angeles. So Davis put on his uniform so he could get a serviceman's discount and attended the show. A couple of years after their second meeting in 1947, Frank booked the Will Maston Trio as his opening act. Being friends with Sinatra and the Rat Pack wasn't just a social benefit for Davis. Sinatra stood up for Sammy, and he was his protector. Davis became a real part of the Palm Springs community. He owned a house in Las Palmas, the neighborhood across the street from Temple Isaiah. But more importantly, he was an avid golfer. He was a member of the Tram Country Club. This club was formed because of the restricted nature of other country clubs in which excluded entertainers and those of the Jewish faith. And of course, Davis was both. The founding members of the Tamara's Country Club included George Burns, Jack Benny, Danny Kaye, and 4 of the 5 Marx Brothers. As a member of the Tamara's Country Club, it provided an entry into Hollywood and the whitewashed world of stardom that eluded so many talented African-American entertainers during the mid-century. Sammy Davis Jr. owed much of his career to Frank Sinatra, despite being a more talented performer. Sammy Davis Jr. was the type of entertainer who could take to the stage and go from tap dancing to singing to playing the trumpet to impressions. His passion was for being an entertainer, making people happy even at his own expense. Shortly before Davis and Sinatra's reacquaintance in 1945, Sinatra had met Peter Lawford at a party for Henry Ford II, hosted by MGM mogul Louis B. Mayer. The British-born actor was more accomplished than many might realize. He was a big MGM star in the 1940s, a suave TV star in the Thin Man series in the 1950s, and surprisingly, an accomplished surfer. Sinatra craved class, and Lawford exuded it. Lawford gave the Rat Pack their handsome Englishman, but Peter was someone who Frank could pick on because he couldn't sing as well as the rest. There is little question, though, that Lawford's greatest asset was his brother-in-law, JFK. You see, Peter Lawford was married to Patricia Kennedy. Just down the block from Dean Martin's house is the Lawford Kennedy House. JFK doesn't hide the fact that he's hanging out with his brother-in-law and Sinatra and the rest of the Rat Pack at the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas. It was actually Sinatra who introduced Kennedy to Marilyn Monroe. But in late 1959 and early 1960, Sinatra had become part of the showbiz movement to draft JFK for the presidential run. Sinatra loaned his plane for the Kennedy campaign, and even Sinatra's song, High Hopes, was used as the Kennedy campaign song. Kennedy was so grateful for the Jacks Pack, as the Rat Pack was temporarily renamed when Sinatra helped get JFK elected, he assigns Sinatra and Lawford to produce the star-studded gala the night before his presidential inauguration in 1961. This was a time when miscegenation was still illegal in 31 states and prevented Sammy Davis Jr. from performing with his Rat Pack compatriots at the gala because he was married to Mae Britt, a white woman. It probably was also exacerbated by the fact that Sammy Davis Jr. supported Richard Nixon. And guess who was the master of ceremonies for JFK's inaugural gala? None other than the 5th member of the Rat Pack, Joey Bishop. In 1951, he was earning $1,000 a week at the Latin Quarter in Manhattan, the club owned, incidentally, by Barbara Walters' father. He caught the eye of Sinatra, who asked him to open up for him at a popular New Jersey club, which resulted in his inclusion in the Rat Pack. An adept ad-libber with a dry, underplayed sense of humor, on stage, Bishop was never at a loss for words. While opening for Sinatra at the Copacabana in New York in 1954, Joey was in the middle of his act when Marilyn Monroe walked in wearing a floor-length white ermine coat. He waited for her to be seated before saying, "Marilyn, I told you to wait out for me in the truck." Bishop only did a little singing and dancing, but told jokes and wrote most of the Rat Pack's material. Joey achieved his greatest fame in the 1960s. He was the most popular comedian in America, and Bishop frequently substituted as a host for Jack Paar and later for Johnny Carson. In 1967, ABC signed him to host his own 90-minute late-night talk fest, The Joey Bishop Show, with Regis Philbin as his announcer sidekick. It ran for 2.5 years. Joey was a family man, and he and his wife Sylvia were married in 1941. Referred to as the mouse in the Rat Pack, they remained married until Sylvia's death in 1999. Though each member of the Rat Pack contributed to the whole, together they became an unstoppable force and now are viewed as the quintessential snapshot for an entire period. It was a time that celebrated bravura, swagger, and a good stiff drink. And Palm Springs served as the perfect setting for all that mid-century glamour. So here's to the Rat Pack, and here's to Palm Springs. Cheers. We hope you'll be able to visit us soon and discover why Palm Springs has become the capital for mid-century modern architecture.
Can you imagine being there back in the day? So this is Kurt, one of our great tour guides. He does Mod Squad tours. So if you come and visit, definitely take one of his tours because it's super informative. So, all right, everyone, get excited. Let's go to Palm Springs. Get ready for arrival. Here we go.
I think I'm gonna like it here. Flying into Palm Springs is not your average experience. The flights are direct, stress-free, and the airport is really nice to look at. I mean, check out these views. The mountains and palm trees are quite the welcome committee, don't you think? Wait, do you hear that? Exactly. No horns, no noise. That's why they call this place an oasis. Come on, let's go. I guess it makes sense why more than 2 million people want to fly through PSP every year. It's so convenient. Honestly, the best thing about Palm Springs International is how close it is to the 9 other cities in Greater Palm Springs, which is perfect because I got places to be. I just landed. Should be there in like 5-10 minutes. All right, see ya. Look at that. The ride's already here. Now, I'd ask her to take me somewhere sunny, but that's everywhere here.
Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that experience. Angie, we'll go to the next slide. So this kind of gives you an overview of the location as to where Palm Springs is in California. As you can see, we are 2 hours from Los Angeles and 2 hours from San Diego. Super convenient if you just, you come out for a conference in Palm Springs, you can take a day trip into LA and be back by the end of the day. Next slide, Angie. A lot of people don't know we have an international airport. Our airport's arrival experience and relaxing setting is why Palm Springs was awarded the top 10 most stress-free airports by smartertravel.com. We do offer 11 airlines flying nonstop to 27 cities. Newly added, we just picked up Southwest, which was a big step forward. This happened during COVID in quarter, I believe, 4 last year. So we were super excited on all the years we worked to get Southwest to fly into Palm Springs. Next slide. So as you can see, Greater Palm Springs is made up of 9 unique cities, which we consider all of it to be called the Coachella Valley. So basically from one point to the other is about a 30-minute drive. Each city is unique in its own respect, but it's super convenient to get around. Next slide, Angie.
All right. So now you know our great convenient location in beautiful Southern California. So now let's take a little trip down the Coachella Valley and get a sense of all we have to offer, all the great hotels. We're just giving you a snapshot. There's so many wonderful ones. So no, there's additional ones out here, but these are some of our premier hotels for groups in particular. So you arrive into Palm Springs International, and downtown Palm Springs is just 5 minutes. So it's super convenient. It's filled with fabulous restaurants, chic boutiques, beautiful neighborhoods consisting of mid-century modern architecture, which I highly recommend doing a tour. And then every Thursday we have something called Village Fest, which is basically a street fair. And the streets are lined with vendors of all sorts. And it's just a great way to embrace the uniqueness of our community. And we have a really tight-knit, not only community, but hospitality community. So also located in the heart of Palm Springs is our gorgeous Palm Springs Convention Center. It's right downtown. I know you all probably work with groups of varying sizes, so we wanted you to know we do have one. And this is actually home to the Palm Springs International Film Festival, which kicks off every January. It is the start of award season. And oftentimes you find the actors who win awards at the film festival here in Palm Springs go on to win Golden Globes and Oscars. But something unique is that the 112 square foot exhibit hall is actually carpeted. So that's a great benefit. It's GBAC certified and wonderful outdoor spaces to host breakout sessions or events. Now, connected to the convention center is the Renaissance Palm Springs. It just recently completed a renovation, and it offers additional meeting space, and they really work as a cohesive unit, and it has a great pool too. Downtown Palm Springs area has a lot of boutique, unique, they all have different personality hotels, but the Kimpton Rowan is one of our newest. It's super modern and chic. It's got a fab rooftop pool and bar, which is the place to go have cocktails and enjoy the view, and just great service and amenities. Now, we're going to move just a little bit further outside of downtown Palm Springs, and we could not go without mentioning the iconic Parker Palm Springs. It was home to one of the first reality shows. It is a favorite of many celebrities, and it just exudes the Palm Springs feel, mid-century modern. You walk through the estate, you feel like you're in a private estate with the beautiful pathways and gardens. And if you want to say where Gene Autry once resided, you can book the Gene Autry Suite. So now we're going to travel outside of Palm Springs proper and head to the luxurious Ritz-Carlton Rancho Mirage. So this is the one hotel that sits atop a hillside and offers absolutely stunning views of the Coachella Valley, and just a luxurious experience. Also a great restaurant. And if you all have questions, I'm moving through these fairly fast because I just want you to be able to get a feel of the aesthetic and know what hotels are available to you. So we continue on in Rancho Mirage with the lovely Omni Rancho Las Palmas. It's got a very Spanish feel. All of our resorts have really fantastic meeting space and so many different unique options for offsite events right on the grounds. So moving on to the Westin Mission Hills, also in Rancho Mirage. It's really like Mediterranean meets the desert. It's very open air. And they have renovated several parts of the hotel. They've redesigned outdoor spaces, and they just begun a full renovation on all 512 guest rooms starting April 1st. Now we're gonna cruise on over to Palm Desert, to the lovely JW Marriott. This is our largest resort property in the Coachella Valley. You'll see beautiful tranquil lakes. They have golf, 5 pools. You can actually they have little electric boats. You can cruise around and take free rides in the evening, or it can move attendees from the lobby of the hotel to an outdoor space. So they also have the Frank Sinatra Ballroom with a great art installation outside. And JW is located, like I said, in Palm Desert. So just a stone's throw away from this property is the El Paseo district, which is considered the Rodeo Drive of Greater Palm Springs. So great shopping, great restaurants, a lot to offer within a close proximity. Next, we're going to head to Indian Wells, which is home to one of the world's largest tennis tournaments, the BNP Paribas Open, that's held every March. And we have 3 great hotels right next to one another, all a little different. You can utilize them individually, or some large groups use them collectively. The Renaissance Esmeralda has recently completed a renovation. They have a great new outdoor space called the Olive Grove, which is fantastic for evening events. And then just on the other side of Indian Wells Golf Resort is the Hyatt Regency, which again, you're getting a theme. We have a lot of shiny new hotels for you to come experience, but they also completed a renovation as well as a new water park with dueling water slides, which I have a feeling this group might have some fun with that. Then on the other side of the highway is the Miramante Resort. We're thrilled that they just reopened. It's charming and a little bit more intimate boutique experience. So it would only be fitting as we head down the road that we end at La Quinta Resort and Club. So as I mentioned at the beginning, this is what started the Hollywood history in Palm Springs. Walter Morgan opened the La Quinta Hotel with 20 casitas. Shirley Temple, Clark Gable, Greta Garbo were frequent visitors. Frank Capra wrote, "It's a Wonderful Life Here." Ginger Rogers got married on property. But to date, it's just under 800 rooms, over 90 holes of championship golf. You also might have spotted it should you have watched The Bachelorette this summer, and it looked quite lovely on the screen. So just lots of opportunities again for very historical off-site events. They have 49 pools. So I did want to note on the horizon, we are anxiously awaiting and excited that in the same area of the town of La Quinta will be a Pendry and Montage to come. And then the Thompson Hotel is anticipated to open in downtown Palm Springs. So we just wanted to make note of that, and we'll be sure to keep you updated. So now you've seen all these great options for places to stay and relax and enjoy the wellness of the Palm Springs area. But you know what? There's a lot more to do. There's so many great activities and cool offsite venues. So I'm going to pass it over to our valued partner, Beth Daniel. She's Managing Director for PRA Business Events, and she has been designing world-class events at several of these properties and venues for several years. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Beth.
Thank you so much, Angie. Can everyone hear me okay? Fantastic. Well, thank you for including me, Whitney, Suzanne, and Angie. I appreciate you including me today. And as Angie mentioned, I've lived in the desert for 22 years. So I live and breathe it every day. It's really my favorite place in the world to be. And although I love traveling and seeing new places, it's always a thrill to be home. So some of the activities that we offer here in the desert, on the far left is the Palm Springs aerial tram. And what makes it very unique, probably wherever you're all from, you've been on some sort of a gondola tram type of thing, but we have the only fully rotating tram car in North America. So there's only 3 in the world. They're also in South Africa and Sweden, but our tram car typically holds about 70 passengers. With COVID, the restrictions are a little leaner right now. So it's about 10 to 20 passengers per tram car, depending on family orientation and so forth. But what makes it so unique is that it starts at the valley floor. You drive up from the valley floor to the valley station, which is at 2,800 elevation. And in 12 minutes, you go through 5 ecosystems, and that takes you up to the mountain station, and you're at 8,500 elevation. So you go through different, obviously different temperatures. At the top, it's usually about 20 to 30 degrees cooler. So in the summer, it's a great escape to get away from our warmer temperatures here. But also in the spring, this time of year, you can leave the valley floor and get up there and find snow. So it just makes for a really unique and different excursion. And there are hiking trails, 54 miles of hiking trails. There's 2 restaurants at the top. So it's one of our most popular activities. We also do wine pairings, beer and appetizer tasting, that sort of thing. We have a lot of, we have several breweries here in the valley. So we have our local tap masters up there talking about their brews. Our other top feature tour is the Jeep tour that you see there in the middle of the screen. And the Jeep comes right to the hotels and picks guests up when we're doing group tours. And it takes them about anywhere, depending on where you are, your starting point in the valley, but it's usually about 20 to 30 minutes ride on paved roads out there. But on the way out to the Jeep tour, out to the San Andreas Fault, they're talking about the history of the valley, as Angie mentioned earlier, about the Kuya band of Indians, and they're settled here in the early years. There's a recreated village that showed how they lived, how they hunted off the land, all of that. But it's also on the San Andreas Fault, and you've, I'm sure, seen some of the movies like Andreas that was out a few years ago, and we talk about earthquakes and all of this. Well, this takes you out and really gives you some great grounded information about earthquakes. We actually have them here typically every day. They are not measured until 3.2. So when you hear about 4-point earthquakes, that sort of thing, we're just usually feeling a little bit of the ground moving. So for us, it's suppressing those big earthquakes, and we like a little bit of shaking because that means it's keeping the pressure off the grid. So the Jeep tour usually runs about 3 to 4 hours, and each Jeep holds about 7 people, but we call it an eco-adventure. It's really wonderful. You step out of the Jeep, walk up into the canyons, and learn a lot about the Coachella Valley, about the underground aquifer that we have, all of the water that runs under the valley. And then if you want, gosh, the words exhilarating, e-ticket ride, bucket list, that would be the BMW Performance Center. So if you have a group that high achievers, you really want to treat them to something special, this would be the place to go. This is out in the East Valley in an area called Thermal. And BMW Performance Center, they're about the driving experience. So it's a school, it's learning how to drive, how to control your vehicle, but it's also about having a really fun time. So I highly encourage that. And then just a few other tours and features here in the desert would be hiking, biking, horseback riding. And then that ties right to the Celebrity Home Tour, which you heard Kurt talking about, and then ties into the next segment here, which would be the Merv Griffin Estate. So Merv Griffin is the one that founded the game show Jeopardy! So a lot of you probably know that. And the jingle for that, his wife actually coined that, and he made over $70 million just on the jingle from the show. So fun fact there. His land, this was built in the 70s, and it's 39 acres. And it's near Empire Polo, where the big Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival. So you're seeing the main part of the house and the 2.5 acre lake that sits on property. And what you can't quite see in this is the front lawn, and that could accommodate anywhere from 600 to 3,000 people, depending on setup. We've done very high-end Merv Griffin celebrity type events, Rat Pack events, but we've also done Coachella events, brought in a Ferris wheel. So it's kind of a blank slate that you can make anything you want. And then here you've got the Dinosaur Estate. This is located right in the heart of Palm Springs. And as Angie mentioned, this is now owned by somebody that you all are very familiar with, which is Leonardo DiCaprio. He bought the home about 6 years ago, and it's 7,000 square feet. It was built in 1964. And Dinah Shore is a little older for some of our younger folks on the call, but she's won an Emmy. She's been a spokesperson. She was really good friends with Kirk Douglas. Their backyards backed up to one another. And it's just in a beautiful setting in Palm Springs. It's a little bit hard to see in the picture because it's a little dark, but gorgeous views of the San Jacinto Mountains right at the foothills of the home. And we can accommodate about 300 for a seated dinner to 400 for a reception style meal. And then our last featured estate here is the Twin Palms, which you've seen a few folks have that as their background. And Frank Sinatra, I do events here. I've probably done over 100 in my years. And every time I step on property, I just almost get the goosebumps. It's, as you can see here, he has a piano-shaped pool. He had this house built in 1947 by E. Stewart Williams. And when he went through his divorce from Ava Gardner, he didn't want her to get the estate. They had a pretty tumultuous end of their marriage. And so he gave it to his trusted valet that worked with him for years named George, and he sold it to him for $1. And so George kept the estate. It went through several hands. It actually sat empty for 8 years and was so overgrown that the city, nobody knew what it was. And a couple from LA came in and purchased the home. And as they went to the city to pull permits and so forth, they found the history of the home. So really just a beautiful event. Here we can do about 120 seated dinner and then 150 reception style. But the homes, what I really love about the homes here in Palm Springs, I've been to other destinations where it's very restrictive as far as food and drinks in the house. And this, they're very open and they understand the corporate business model that we use. And it's open for flow, tours of the home. We have docents that will tell about the history and that sort of thing. So it really makes it a very engaging experience. And I wanted to ask, A, if there's any questions, but B, I would love if people put in the chat who has been to Palm Springs, and if you've maybe done an event here or just been here on vacation. I'd love to hear, just because so many folks have an aunt who lives here or my grandparents who lived there, that sort of thing. So just loving to hear your history or experience of Palm Springs, and or if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Beth. It's been such a pleasure to be with you all today. We just want to end with a quick little video and cheers. We look forward to welcoming you back to Palm Springs or to Palm Springs for the first time.
Thank you, Angie.
Sorry. Maybe I'll show you video. If not, I know it's 5 o'clock for many of you. So
5 o'clock somewhere.
All right.
We're good.
Well, we're just gonna wrap it up there. And thank you again. Cheers.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you all. That was really, really a lot of fun. I just want to jump on a plane right now.
Me too.
Thank you for including us. It was fun.
Thank you so much.
See if we can get that video loaded. It's only a minute or two. I think it's a minute video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Can you see it?
I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my toes. The love that's all around me. Come on and let it show. Come on and let it show.
Thank you all.
Nice. Very nice. I was looking for, questions.
Sometimes you need to get away from the kids for growing time.
I don't see anything. A lot of comments, though. A lot of comments.
Sorry,
So
y'all.
I too am like Beth and wonder who has, well, we know Scott has just brought a group there. And,
That was just out.
Yeah, Kelly McAllister said she's been on a couple. Oh, Carol said her last business trip to Palm Springs was the day of Sonny Bono's funeral. That was significant.
Well, he is immortalized in downtown Palm Springs with his bronze sculpture still inviting people to the desert.
All that means is it's been too long, Carol.
Definitely. Looks like Robin's coming. Fantastic, Robin. Let us know how we can help.
Carol, I think you're muted.
Will do. I'll definitely be in touch. Thanks.
I'm just chatting away over here and nobody can hear me. So speaking of trips to Palm Springs and some lucky person enjoying it, Angie and Suzanne and whoever else wants to collaborate with Kelly McAllister, who we didn't properly say hello to this week. Sorry, Kelly. Kelly has functioned as our judge and jury for 52 weeks in a row and has given up her time to join us every week to chime in on who she feels is the most interesting preparation for our destination experience. So Kelly, thank you. Thank you for the giant amount of time that you've given us and adding so much to our weekly presentation.
And ladies, I do see one question. What months not to come?
There's always a good time to come.
Even in August, in the dead of heat, it's a dry heat and it's still nice.
You're in a pool or you're in the air conditioning. It's you just accommodate the heat and you get out there early morning and hike or golf. Then you're indoors and you spa and then you go to the pool and then the sun goes down and it's time to go out and hit the town and go to nice restaurants and do some shopping. It's all about being flexible with your schedule.
I was gonna mirror that exactly. We've had groups that come and they do their activities in the morning and then their meetings in the afternoon when they're inside enjoying the AC. So we can get creative.
The only thing I do want to mention, and I definitely still reach out to us if you're interested, but Coachella and Stagecoach fall in April. So just be aware of that, but it's a lovely time to visit.
How long does Coachella last? 10 days, 2 weekends in a week, or how long does it last?
Coachella is 2 weekends, and then it goes into Stagecoach, which is a country music festival, and that is another 2 weekends. So for 4 weekends, generally in April, we are, another 80,000 people in town. So
no deals to be had in April.
No deals to be had. But Lisa, I do remember that story. And I remember when you came out with the fam and we took care of you and we had to do some shopping and get you some clothes and like basic necessities.
I remember I went through, for some reason, I went from like San Diego through Phoenix or something, and it was like 104 degrees and the plane wouldn't leave. So they had to get us in a car over to Palm Springs.
Lisa, it was 126.
And it was in Palm Springs.
Yeah, it was the 1 year that I don't know what happened. We decided to have a fam in June. We never do them in June, but we're like, let's do it. And it was so hot in all of the like Western region. It was Arizona. So I remember you flew into Phoenix and it was about 125 there.
Yeah. So I was off about 20, but
I remember
the wheels were like melting. They wouldn't let the flights take off. So like, I think there were 4 of us that ended up being toted over from Phoenix over to Palm Springs. And I was like, well.
and then the next day it was 90. I mean, we don't know, but Sam, you're asking about BNP Paribas tennis tickets. No, they're actually pretty easy to get. Generally, they're not expensive. It's really something that anybody can afford to go to.
What's great too is there's different, there's the box seating, there's the top seating, then there's also suite. So like Suzanne's saying, there's kind of something for everyone. If you want to host a client event, you can rent a suite for the day, that sort of thing. There's a lot of options for that.
Anybody
All
else?
right. Well, so Kelly, have you been in touch with Suzanne and Angie?
Angie and I were just in the chat box, and I will let her take it away.
Okay.
Well, so many of you have great backdrops and outfits, and we're just so happy to have y'all. But we are going to say the winner is Sam.
Yay, Sam. Sam, we're going to disqualify you any day now, Sam, because you just bring it, but you're so delightful. Thank you so much for your
I think it's the most appropriate award winner on like this, our 1-year anniversary, and the one who has like continues to show up, do all of her research, and just add so much to what we do.
True, true.
I think it's very appropriate. Congrats, Sam.
That's awesome. I love Palm Springs. I've had a lot of good trips there.
Well, we love to hear that. So.
And mommy needs another martini.
All right.
Sam, let me get you. I know you're going to send me a great picture for this. Okay. Kelly, have you got some sunglasses to give away?
Am I unmuted? Yes. I do.
And who are they going to?
So I would actually like to do, I'm going to say one, and if they're accepted, that would be great. Because I also do want to show support for Scott, who shows up continuously for this event and has declined and declined and declined, but I know his wife would probably like a pair. So I would like to offer a pair of sunglasses to Scott. So unless you tell me no.
And you can't decline because it could be for your wife.
No,
exactly.
Kelly, you're so nice, but I want to respectfully decline, and I'm going to shoot them back to you because you should take the sunglasses because you've been here for 52 weeks, so you could use another pair. But no, you're so nice to offer them. But seriously, let's give them to somebody that really could use them. And so I'm gonna.
Whitney and Carol could use a pair.
I was about to say, would you like to donate your pair to Whitney and Carol?
Absolutely.
I'll make that happen. That's probably the best possible scenario here.
That's a great idea.
Just being a big shot here.
Oh no, you were right. Thank you for hosting, ladies. We'll take great care of you.
Yeah, please take care of Carol or Brittany or whoever.
We'll split them in two. We'll be like the baby that got, who was that? Now I can't even remember.
Send you a monocle.
Yeah.
Perfect for this week.
2 monocles. That'll be it. We'll use those in Texas. All right, everybody, we're going to a reminder to Robin, and I also think Carrie, if Carrie is still on the call. I don't think I have your home address, Carrie. I did that.
Yeah, I can send that to you.
Thank you. Lisa sent me hers. Don't remember if Robin sent hers, but please send me your home address. Angie and Suzanne would love to send you a little gift from Palm Springs. Don't forget to tell your friends not to come back next week because we won't be here. And we'll see you on whatever the following week is, which I believe is the 21st of April.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Correct. All right.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Happy